Then it go like this. She was working. Mom and all that. Yeah, it was.
We just didn't think about it, I used to behind right here, so yes, that's where I had it, because I was literally, every time I went out, my eyes were wrong.
Yeah.
We haven't our parents to go with us, we didn't have to, we just all went.
I'm not. Well, good morning. If I could ask the clerk to call the roll.
Senator Livingston.
Here.
Senator Elliott.
Here.
Senator Price. Senator Singleton. Senator Figures. Representative Pringle. Representative Witt. Representative Sales. Representative Lawrence. Representative Lipscomb.
5 members here. We have a quorum. I know we've got some other meetings going on in town today that other folks are tied up with, so we'll move forward with that. In front of you have the minutes from the last meeting. We need to approve those minutes.
You have a motion.
I have a motion. Senator Elliott, second from Mr. Price. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Well, minutes are approved. We've got some handouts. Who brought the handouts here, if I may ask? Michael? Okay. Mr. Stewart, welcome. So would you like to make some comments this morning? I'll give you the priority to go first there.
Thank you, Senator Singleton. I'm sorry, Livingston. That's the way to get started on the right foot.
I have been called a lot worse, okay?
Well, very briefly, I've made comments before this committee before, and essentially what the handout does is talks about 2 concerns that I have. They're the same concerns I had before. I'll just reiterate them very briefly. And the numbers, the pages on the handout are numbered. So on page 2, it talks about concerns for our young people, because the ABV that's I've heard thrown around is 12.5%. That remains too high. It is higher than the average products that are out there. It's higher than the typical beer that's being sold. There are several pages in here that give you the ABV of some typical beers. I won't go through that, but please consider limiting the ABV in this bill. That's our first concern. Also, just remember that we would then be the highest, we would have the highest ABV of the surrounding states. So there's a reason the other states don't do it either. They don't allow products with this strong of amount of alcohol to be in a wider distribution. The other concern that I have is for the consumers. And the best way to say it is on the very last page, which is in red, that what part of this change would do would be to allow products with a higher ABV than all the surrounding states to be put in that wider distribution. Those products would cost the consumers more. There's a price comparison in here that I didn't go through. And the state would get a little less in tax from those products. So financially, it's a lose-lose if you move too many of these products. And those are my 2 concerns that they're summarized on that page in the red. I won't take up any more of the committee's time, but I'll be glad to answer any questions or if you want to ask any of me.
Are there any questions?
I do. Mr. Real quick question. Your last comments there about a reduction in revenue, does that take into account the increased volume of sales that is likely to result from these products being in more widely distributed?
No, sir. It's on a unit-by-unit basis.
So it's fair to say that if these products are more widely distributed, that the revenue to the state may actually go up?
It is possible, yes, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Any other questions? Director, thank you for coming today and sharing this and this package for us also today. So,
yes, sir.
Thank you. Michael?
I'm going to let Ellie.
Okay, Ellie.
Chairman, committee members, first I just wanted to say thank you so much for working on this issue. My name is Ellie Taylor. I'm with the Alabama Grocers Association, and I represent over 800 grocery stores in the state of Alabama. Consumers come into our stores every day and tell us they want the convenience of buying these products. So in the fall, we worked with McLaughlin Group and did a study, sent it out to consumers in Alabama, found out 63% want these products, and then once they were told, what the products were and understood the issue, over 74% of Alabamians wanted these products. So almost 3/4 of people in our state want the convenience of these products. RTDs will boost small businesses, raise tax revenue, and support consumer choice. Like I said, consumers want this. The mom with her kids that, has the kids with her, she can't go into the liquor store. She has her kids with her. If she's in a grocery store, she can get everything she needs plus these products. Retailers currently sell beer and wine and are well equipped to sell these. We sell beer already at 13.9%. We sell wine at 24%. We also are responsible vendor trained. I am actually a responsible vendor trainer. I am responsible for almost over 100 stores in the state of Alabama, and I actually do the training. This training is not simple training that just says, hey, if you're not 21, card them and you're done. It takes me about an hour and a half to do the average training in a grocery store with those employees. And so those employees not only know, what the alcohol amounts are, the fact that they can't sell to, people under the age of 21, they also know what penalties they will incur if they sell products to people under the age of 21. So right now the penalties are between $100 and $1,000 and possible jail time. And so we stress that to employees in grocery stores that it's their responsibility to, responsibly sell these to consumers. And so I'm just going to say one more thing and I'll sit down, but alcohol is alcohol. It's not what you drink, it's how much you drink. Drinking responsibly and in moderation depends on what you drink, not if it's made of beer, wine, spirits, sugar, whatever it is. 5% is 5% is 5%. And so we just, in the grocery industry, and I'm sure I speak for convenience stores too, want to give consumers that choice to be able to buy those products. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ellie. Senator Price?
Thank you. Yeah, at the beginning of your statement, you made reference to some percentages, 60 and 70%. How many people actually did you poll?
I have to go back and look at the study. McLaughlin did the study.
I'd like to have that.
Okay, yeah, I will happily give you the study.
Thank you.
But it was done through McLaughlin.
Any other questions, Senator Ellie?
Thank you. We appreciate it. Like I said, we hear it every day in our store, so it matched what we already knew.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Bart, she kind of threw you under the bus there. You want to jump in real quick?
I'm supposed to go last, Senator.
Okay. Well, let's just say next then, okay? Not like I'm not in charge.
So, Senator Cooper and I are going to kind of tag team this. One of the main issues that y'all have been looking at through this entire process is the issue of franchise, which is very important to the distributors that would be handling these products statewide. There's been arguments made that franchise is somehow anti-free market or, somehow stipends people's choice. And I just say that, picture is worth 1,000 words. This poster and the handout in front of you shows a wine and beer aisle at your typical grocery store. That is all franchise regulated and controlled. And then the soda market and the soda aisle. You've got literally thousands of choices between wine and beer and your typical, soda aisle, which is much more limited. So Cooper will speak more to this in a second, but, franchise has allowed variety and choice, and for little small brew pubs and wineries to have access to market that otherwise they would not have otherwise because of the protections we receive from, through the franchise system, through the franchise law, from, the main manufacturers who would otherwise put pressure on us to not carry certain brands or only to carry their brands. So it has absolutely benefited the consumers of the state. So I just wanted to put that in front of you. Cooper?
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Cooper Trent, I just want to start out and say thank you for your time and your efforts to study this issue. As you know, it's not easy. We've been studying this and taking a look at this for over 3 years now. And so first of all, I commend you for your dedication and to really getting into the weeds of this issue. Over the past 3 years, we've continued to see an increase in these products and their popularity and for consumer demand. As you know, there's a lot of issues that go into this, everything from tax, ABV, franchise, and other items. But at the end of the day, we've got a good regulatory framework for both wine and beer to work off of. So we've got a good, a good regulatory system that has served the state for years. I wouldn't be remiss to say that if we bring in these into a larger market, it's going to hurt beer sales. There's no doubt about it. But I think taxed and regulated appropriately, again, could meet consumer demands and could create additional revenue for the state. One of the main issues from, as Michael said, that has been a topic of conversation has been franchise protection. We have that both for wine and beer currently. You can find that under Title 28, Chapter 9 of the Code. And the legislative intent and purpose stated in that section says that the regulation in this area is considered necessary for the following reasons. And number one is to maintain stability and healthy competition in the beer industry in this state. It is not a barrier to entry. It is not a detriment. The Alabama businesses and the families of the wholesale community have enjoyed that protection that the legislature has afforded them. It protects the investment that they've made in their people, their products, technologies, trucks, and warehouses. We just ask that if you're to expand this category, that we get the same protection of the law that you've afforded to both wine and beer. To kind of piggyback on what Michael had mentioned, and as the code states, it maintains stability and healthy competition. Without franchise protection, I think you would see a more limited selection on the beer shelf and the wine shelf. Fairhope IPA would not be likely be available in North Alabama, nor would a trim tab be made available in Mobile, because there would be potential retaliation from those larger multinational conglomerate manufacturers that would want to potentially limit the choices that consumers and the variety that they could so enjoy. So I would ask you to kind of consider all that and appreciate your consideration in that as you move forward. Another solution that I want to bring up is I think we could get a lot of things resolved if we just put a bunch of these on ice and lock us in a room for 3 hours. I think we could come up with some real good ideas. Yeah. But I do appreciate your time and your consideration, and thank you for the work that you've done. Thank you.
Any questions of Ms. Cooper? Johnny? Bob? I didn't know who was next. I didn't get the agenda.
I am up here, Bob Crawford, United Johnson Brothers of Alabama. We're a beer, wine, spirits, and non-alcoholic distributor, so we touch everything alcohol related as well as non-alcoholic. And my only purpose today is to come back to the committee and talk to you guys a little bit more about the tax situation that we talked last time. There is a handout in front of you talking about the spirits-based comparison. If you guys would look at that, I would appreciate it. I tried to make this very simple, and I only looked at the states that are around us that touch Alabama. So at the top box on the left, you're going to see Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, and Mississippi. And you're going to see their tax per can. And you can see that our current tax is 98. We've all talked about it a lot. But in comparison, you're going to see what Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, and Mississippi charge per can. It is significantly lower. The closest is Georgia at 35 cents per can. Next to that in the column, you're also going to see your average retail price. And again, everybody can poke holes in what the retail price is. So I went around to the major competitors, whether it was a package store or whether it was a club store or whatever. So you can see that our average retail today in Alabama is $10.99 for a 4-pack. And I made this 4-pack only. 8-packs and 12-packs are very popular, but I wanted to try and compare apples to apples. So in the ABC today, you can buy a 4-pack of these products for around $10.99. And in an independent package store, you can buy them for $14.99. The next column over, if you will, just some explanation there. This is the category as what I believe Curtis said it best, what we feel is in the bill. If it's 12.5 and below, this is only canned products at 12.5 and below, and what the average sales are in a 12-month period, which was about 175,000 cases for Alabama. And you can look down underneath it and you can see all the different states of what they sell. And again, you have to remember that a state like Florida has 22 million people in it. So when they're selling 6 million cases in a year, you can do the math. But it's interesting to look at states like Mississippi that are selling 370,000 cases compared to ours, and they're selling it in grocery and convenience if you look to the right. So is Florida. The per capita consumption does go up. I think everybody agrees that when you put more distribution and you let a convenience stores and grocery stores sell it where it's only being sold today, and the ABC stores and the independent retailers, the natural process would be for more sales, more points of distribution. And then to the right, you'll see where the sales outlets and whether they're selling it in grocery and convenience or not. So sorry that took a minute, but I wanted to make sure you guys understood what we talked about last time. The next, any questions there before I move on? The next part below it is just our Alabama tax per can, and what I was asked from the committee was what would happen if we decided to change the tax. What would happen to the sales and the retails, and that's what I wanted to focus on. And again, these are numbers that are based off of your normal markup and margin for your retailers and your distributors. So at 98 cents a can, your retail here would be $16.99 in that range. We do feel that the lower the tax, and I put on here as an example of 86, 65, and 45. I didn't recommend any of those taxes. I just wanted to put them on there so you guys could see what it would do to the retail. So it could go from $16.99 all the way down to $13.99 at a 45-cent tax. With that, I also took the next column, and if you look at the projected sales, you can see where those projected sales go from. So if it's 175,000 cases today, it could be 450,000 cases tomorrow if you put a 98-cent tax on it. So I am saying that we will see an increase by putting them in grocery stores and convenience stores. And as you lower the tax rate, you lower the retail, thus increasing the volume and thus increasing the taxes. So you have to do the math at each different level. And again, the big point that I want to point out here is if you look at that projected gross profit tax rate that would be coming in, it is significantly higher, up to 3 times when you put it into these other locations in grocery stores and convenience. And you can see that in the state of Florida, and you can see it in the state of Mississippi. Mississippi went with a 4-cent tax, which is right where beer is, and that is not what we're recommending. So on the bottom, you're going to see an arrow going down. It helps reduce the retail. If you lower the tax rate, it helps reduce the retail to the end consumer. It lessens the cross-border sales, and we all know, I think Ellie spoke to it, we see people going across our borders with our tax money and spending them in Florida on lottery tickets and gas and other things. So I think there is an effect to that, and I do know that it happens in spirits because we have businesses in our surrounding states, so I can be a good judgment of how much business they are gaining off of our citizens that are going across the border. It also talks a little bit about strategically positioning the tax rate. Whatever the rate is that the committee decides to present, I just want to let you know that that is higher than, beer and wine, and it's also lower than the full spirits tax. If you chose to do that, other states have. Other states, as I said before, have chose to take whatever the ABV is and charge a different tax level at the higher ABV and a different tax level at the lower ABV. The options are up to you. I'm just here to tell you what other states have done and try to explain to you the process a little bit better or more clearly than I did last time I was here. And then if you see the green arrow on revenue, I definitely feel that it would increase the tax revenue over our current if you're looking at that very small category that the ABC is talking about. We only want to take this ABV and we want it in a can, and they have specifics because I am sure, and I will not speak for them, they do not want to end up with Jose Cuervo, I believe was what was talked about before, on the grocery stores. They want to limit this category much like the other states have, and if you want to, I can bring you ABV from each state as well. But that is my presentation. I hope it helps clarify what you guys asked of me last time, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
Thank you for what you guys are doing.
Thank you. Gina, you next? I don't have the agenda, so y'all have to tell me.
Hi, I'm Gina Dearborn with Adams and Reese, and we represent DISCUS, the Distilled Spirits Council, which is the leading advocate for distilled spirits in the U.S. As we know in Alabama, and this is why we're all here, consumers have to make a special trip to the liquor store to get spirit-based RTDs. And we appreciate the fact that this task force is looking at expanding the access for consumers. Spirit RTDs are already being sold now in grocery stores in over 31 states and in convenience stores in 29 states. Our neighbors, Florida and Mississippi, already allow spirits RTD cocktails to be sold in grocery and convenience stores. Because these spirit-based canned cocktails will be sold alongside beer and wine-based RTDs with similar or sometimes less alcohol content, we feel that they should be taxed similarly. I know right now the task force is looking at a 98 cents per 12 ounce. Florida taxes spirit RTDs at the wine rate, while Mississippi taxes beer, wine, and spirit RTDs all at the same rate. The proposed 98 cents per 12-ounce beverage would make Alabama one of the highest tax rate for RTDs. Currently, Alabama is fourth highest tax of full spirits of a controlled state. Virginia is the third highest, but Virginia only taxes their spirit-based RTDs at 14 cents per 12 ounces. So clearly 98 cents per 12 ounces is a lot, we feel like. It's almost 20 times higher than what Alabama charges for beer with the same or less alcohol by volume. It's more than 6 times higher than what Alabama charges for wine, which is usually at least double the amount of ABV. The 98 cents per 12 ounce for spirit RTDs really removes any ability for these products to be competitive and almost makes increasing access a moot point. DISCUS supports passing legislation to increase access, and we so appreciate the task force looking at this issue and hopefully coming to a resolution to provide this for consumers. But we do hope that you will reconsider the tax rate. Thank you.
Any questions from Ms. Dearborn? No questions. Okay.
Have good news.
You're next.
I'm a caboose. Oh, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, thank you so much for allowing us to speak today. I am Bart Fletcher, and I am with the Petroleum and Convenience Marketers of Alabama. We're the state trade association for wholesale and retail gasoline distributors and convenience store operators. And our national association does a census of convenience stores every year, and they tell us that there are roughly 3,400 convenience stores in the state of Alabama, many of which are on or in border communities all across the state. And for the convenience retailer, border competition is real. Already, lottery customers cross the border on a weekly basis, and in today's economic environment, all of the consumers are very price sensitive. As an example, y'all may have known during the last 6 months of 2023, the governor of Georgia suspended their statewide motor fuels tax, and that dramatically impacted the retail price of gasoline in Georgia. And on average, Alabama's border retailers saw their volumes decline by more than 25% while this suspension of tax was enacted. As others have already said, consumers have strongly indicated their desire to see this new product category in both grocery and convenience stores, and Alabama's border retailers are already at a tax disadvantage in many locations on both motor fuels and some tobacco products. So when we do bring these products to the retail locations that consumers want, what we would ask is that we not trade the competitive disadvantage of unavailability for the competitive disadvantage of unaffordability. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Questions?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Philip? Virginia?
Good morning, almost afternoon, members of the task force. I'm Virginia Bannister. I represent the Alabama Beverage Association. We are all of the Coke and Pepsi bottlers in the state of Alabama. And we maintain our position on mixed spirit beverages, same position we've maintained for the past year and a half. We are very much in favor of our customers, the grocers and convenience stores, selling these products outside of ABC should you all and ABC choose to do so. We do, however, advocate for creating a separate category of drinks, putting these mixed spirit beverages in their own categories where they don't fall under beer and wine. And we would like that so that our companies could fairly compete and sell these products in addition to the beer and wine folks. We are against barriers to entry, including onerous franchise laws that would keep us from competing fairly in the marketplace with this whole new line of beverages. And I would like to remind you all that the beer and wine folks do distribute non-alcoholic products. And so just like them, we would like to distribute this new product line as well. So thank you for hearing our side of the story.
Cool. Any questions for Virginia? Anybody in the FAR or the franchise language that wants to speak here? Greg, do you have some comments today?
Wouldn't be any different than it has before.
Okay.
Consider the effect on people's lives and young people. It'll certainly make these much more widely available to them. And, you know, there's a personal cost on these as well, on families. So we just ask you to consider that, certainly.
Thank you. Director Stewart?
Yes, sir. Thank you. I had an answer prepared for a question I thought I was going to get, and I didn't get the question, so I didn't do the answer. But
We'll try to do better.
well, some of the other speakers mentioned the 2 points, so I'd like to just make those 2 points real quick. Consumer choice was one of the things that was mentioned, and the cost of these products if they're put into a wider distribution. I think Mr. Crawford said they're currently seen at $14.99 a 4-pack, whereas we sell them for $10.99, and he thinks it might even go up to $16.99. You can give the consumers a choice of cost versus convenience by making sure that we're still allowed, the ABC board is still allowed to purchase and sell these products the way we do. That way, if a consumer wants to go to an ABC store for a lower price, maybe driving a little bit further, they can do that. But if they want the 5-minute pickup in a grocery store, they can do that, but they'll pay more, just like, so they'll get to make their own choice between cost and convenience. The other thing was who will drink these products at what ABV. The point I was going to make, because I expected someone to say, well, you have beer products at a 12 or higher ABV now, why can't these products be in the grocery store? So I was going to issue a challenge to this committee. At my own expense, if you come out to our place, I will let you have some 12% beer and some 12% ready-to-drink spirit-based products, and I'll challenge you to tell me which one your freshman or sophomore daughter in college would drink. I'll bet you she won't drink the one that's a 12% beer. That's a product that is not widely consumed for a reason. It's self-policing because of the taste of it. The market that wants that product isn't the same market that wants the spirit-based product. You can make a product with vodka at 12% that you can't even tell there's alcohol in it. So if the committee wants to accept my challenge, at my expense, I will have you out and I will do a demonstration hands-on. Thank you.
Kevin?
I was just going to make a joke. Can you bring them with you next time you come?
I didn't know if it would be allowed in this building, but I can certainly do it at my location.
Our research, go ahead.
No, I had a question, if I may, just about distribution, Mr. Stewart, if I can. Would you envision if ABC is still able to retail these products, which I'm in favor of, would you also still think it's, I mean, what would your approach be to package stores and you wholesaling to package stores? So if we maintain the distributor network we have now through our beer and wine distributors, and they're distributing to convenience and grocery stores, would you envision ABC then distributing to package stores, or would you envision the distributor network distributing to package stores just as they distribute to grocery stores and convenience stores?
Well, of course, my concern was the ABC being able to retail them in our stores. If we're allowed to wholesale them to package stores, it will give package stores a choice, and they could choose to buy them from us or from the same guy who's bringing other products to them, which may make it more convenient for them. So that would be a choice they would have.
I understand. Thank you, sir.
Primarily, you're interested in maintaining retail, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay. Okay. Any other questions of the committee? We obviously still have some work to do to try to determine what direction we're going to head with this. And if I could, we're going to try to reschedule a meeting when we get back here, maybe the Wednesday of the 7th sometime. Is that convenient time for y'all? Good point. Won't know that, so. Yeah. Okay. We will, let's just pencil in the 7th, probably that morning sometime that we can do that, and just sit down and have another conversation about this. That's fair. So, any other comments? Come out. Okay. Have a motion to adjourn? Have a motion to adjourn, so we are adjourned. Thank you very much.